win. He actually coming off a good performance and then a good win. So he had some momentum. Youssef hadn't been in the ring for a year. So if you didn't know or hadn't seen Youssef box before, you would have said to yourself, well, you know, I'll probably go for Baker. But, you know, the whole team, you know, we knew what we have at our gym. And Youssef's one of many the fighters that we've spent years building. And, you know, you just hope that one day, you know, they all get their chance. But they need to look at Youssef and make sure when their chance does come that you look like that, because then you get another chance. You know, that was the important thing for Youssef. You know, he wanted to make a statement. He wanted to look good, and he wanted to do what he said he was going to do. And I was really pleased. I mean, obviously, technically, there was a couple of things that I would have preferred for him to do a little bit different. I think he could have been a little bit sharper. But again, you know, once you're in the ring with somebody, you kind of get a feel of what they can do. And, you know, he didn't really have any respect for the power or the ability of Kane. So he kind of just, you know, he opened up, left himself open a couple of times. But, you know, the fans absolutely loved it. I mean, the feedback has been unbelievable. I mean, just in general, like from everybody. I mean, Sky, Matchroom, I mean, you know, the next day you get a feel of when someone is like, you know, someone's, you know, broken in to, you know, gone on to another level. And that was the feeling the next day. You know, so he's got a lot of fans, definitely from that fight. And he only wants fights like that. I mean, you know, he wants to be known as an entertainer. That's the most important thing to Youssef. He wants to be known as an entertainer. So he wants fights where guys are going to come and put up a good fight. He's not really going to be that excited about guys who are going to run around the ring and spend God knows how long holding.
He wants to trade.
He doesn't want to be associated with those kind of fights, because then, you know, you get labelled as boring. He doesn't want that. You know, that's not why he got into boxing. You know, Youssef, he doesn't mind fighting punchers, dangerous guys, more experienced guys. This is, you know, he's just a very confident person and he wants to test himself. So, you know, Dillian's done a good job with Youssef. You know, managing him. You know, it took a whole year. I mean, he hadn't been out for a whole year, so that was the only issue going in. But you know, that's down to a variety of different reasons. Obviously, Dillian's fight the date could get shifted, and obviously, you know, the pandemic. So, you know, but patience is the key. Patience is the key.
It was down as a 50-50 fight. You know, I've seen Kane Baker fight before. He's a trader. He's someone that likes to trade punches. We saw him have, I think, 2 fights during the pandemic, like you said, whereas Youssef had, you know, none. He'd had a bit of a layoff, postponements, etc. But going into the fight, what I noticed is it seemed as if, personally, that Kane was the favourite. It seemed as if Kane was getting a lot more respect as a fighter than Youssef. I've watched Youssef's bouts. I've obviously spoken to him previously. I thought it was going to be a 50-50 fight. However, when it got into it, it wasn't. Youssef came in really aggressive from the get-go. I had Youssef down as more of a back foot fighter, someone that's comfortable on the ropes. No. He went straight into the center of that ring and he owned it. His jab, his timing, he did a couple of shots that I liked, which was the jab and then the left hook, which almost made Kane like anticipate that the backhand was coming, but it wasn't, because he went straight from the jab to the left hook. His timing was impeccable. I'm not being biased. I'm saying what I see. To me, it was punch perfect and an absolute pleasure to watch as a boxing fan.
Definitely. When I watched it back, that's exactly how I saw it. He just looked in and up. He's just in a class of his own at the moment, Youssef. You know, it's going to take someone special to really get the best out of him. You know, obviously it's just a shame that, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because it's over here. I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand. I mean, boxing should be about landing clean, effective punches. It shouldn't matter where you are in the ring. It should make no difference. If you've got guys that are talented that can fight off the ropes, then as a judge, a qualified judge, you know, who's judged bouts around the world, you should know the difference. You know, but it just goes to show you how versatile Youssef is.
Versatile, yeah.
You can't do it also goes to show you that Youssef was boxing the way he boxed against Liam because that's how he wants to box. If that fight came up again, Youssef's going to put him on the back foot or stand right in front of him. But it shouldn't matter how you go about winning, as long as you win. And you got to land clean, effective punches, which is what Youssef was doing all night long. It just looked even better against Kane because Kane, like Youssef said, Kane gets momentum from coming forward.
Yes.
He likes being a pressure fighter.
Yes.
So Youssef already made up his mind that I'm not going anywhere. And obviously he wanted a fan-friendly fight on TV. He knew this was his chance, and he wanted to gain some fans, and that's what he did. So yeah, listen, credit to Youssef. And again, a lot of boxers make a lot of excuses. I had Youssef out in Portugal maybe 2 or 3 times last year for Dillian's camps, but obviously the fights get getting shifted. It cost him a lot of money. For him to come and stay out there, he had to pay for his own accommodation, his own food. Each time he come, he had to spend a lot of money. And then he did plan to come out, once we got the latest date for Dillian's fight. But Portugal, they closed the borders. They went into the red zone, so Youssef couldn't fly over to Portugal. So Nick had to oversee most of the training. I mean, obviously during the sparring, they set up a live video so I could talk to Youssef in the corner. It's something I'd never actually had to do before. But that just goes to show you the kind of relationship that me and Youssef had. Is that I could trust him to make sure that he gets himself in good shape. I didn't have to be saying to him, did you do your runs, did you do your bag work, so on and so forth. He knew this was his shot and he wasn't going to let it slip. So a lot of guys would make an excuse, my head trainer's not here, and this is the reason why I didn't do this, didn't do that. No, when I knew what I used to. I watched the sparring live, and then I would actually speak to Youssef later in the evening, and I'd call him on WhatsApp and put my phone at the screen and talk to him at the same time and say to him and scroll it back and say, listen, you need to do this at this point and we need to do this more. And in the next spar, he'd already made them adjustments. So, it's good that me and him have got that kind of relationship. And he just listened to everything that was said to him on the night. I had to get at him a couple of times because there's a couple of things that he did that I didn't like. But he knows it's for his own benefit. I want him to be consistent and stay on Kane. There's no need to drop around against Kane. You're a few levels above Kane, your levels above Kane Baker. But I'm looking forward to the next challenge, and you can expect to see Youssef in a fan-friendly fight again, definitely, most definitely.
And I'm sure the fans are definitely looking forward to that. There's some of the advice that you gave him in the corner I wrote down because I like to listen to the corner advice. Touch him first, show your class. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, because he seemed to, I think he hurt Kane early. I think Kane was quite shocked with his power. I've been telling people for a long time, Youssef can punch. It's just that a lot of his early bouts, he was getting a few journeymen that are known for doing the rounds. I didn't pick guys and get them flown in that have been knocked out in 1 or 2 rounds because he wasn't going to learn anything doing that. I wanted guys
challenge.
Yeah, I wanted guys that are going to be stubborn, and so he did the round. To me, the rounds are more important to me, and some of the guys Youssef got out. But yeah, I mean, when I was telling him touch him first, it's because Youssef was loading up with 1 shot, and most of the time when you hurt guys, it's a punch they don't see. If you just throw 1 big heavy shot, a lot of time they can see it coming. They can brace the shot and deal with it. As soon as he started to either touch him with a jab first or set him up, then he started getting a lot more success. Like I said, Youssef's a very good listener. He's exactly the same in sparring. It's no different. You only got to speak to Youssef once and that's it, and he'll make the adjustment. What was the other thing you said? I'll show your class. Yeah,
show your class. It was like was coupled together.
Yeah, that was just reminding him not to get involved in a fight that Kane was involved in. I wanted him to be, to do exactly what he wanted to do, to be the boss in there. Whether you're going forward, going backwards, be the boss. Don't get dragged into the kind of fight that Kane wants to get into, because Kane's very good after about 3-4 rounds. The motor really starts going. And once it gets going, he starts walking people down and he lands some good, effective shots. So I didn't want the fight to be close in any way. I wanted Youssef to show separation and put a statement out there to the rest of the division that, he's here and, he's ready to bang with anybody. So, and he did that. It's good.
A couple of things that I noticed in there, and fair enough, you probably won't be able to comment because he's not your fighter. I saw a little bit of frustration in Youssef when he was sort of like getting ready to get stuck in. And I think 4 out of the 5 rounds, Kane's gum shield came out. What did you think about that?
Yeah, all you've got to do with fighters is if you know their history, you know their character. Kane is a warrior.
Absolutely.
He gives everything, and he's willing to come out of his own weight, his natural weight, and fight guys at heavier weight. He's proved he's done that, and he can stand it with these guys. Me personally, I think that he might have had some damage to his jaw, because that's usually the reason why a gum shield will come out. Right. Because when you bite on the gum shield, it's molded to fit. But if you get any damage to your jaw can't function the way it would normally function.
Right. Okay.
And when you get hit, then the gum shield will dislodge and come out. So there was never a case where he was doing it on purpose. There's no way. Obviously, I think after the second time, Youssef was looking to try and come with a second or third phase attack, after he'd landed that shot. So that was probably just a little bit frustration. But I thought Youssef was cool and calm throughout the whole fight. Yeah. But yeah, honestly, I respect Kane a lot. Even, the next day I bumped into him and we were having breakfast, and I said to him, I was a fan of yours because, I know where you've come from. You've also come from the small shows, and you got your chance on the big stage. And, you did really well against Akim Fiaz, I think it was. Fiaz was quite sharp that night, but, Kane started coming back into it. And then against Fear, you won the fight. And I just thought, what a great story. You took your chance and grabbed it with both hands. So he goes, and he said to me, I hope you're still a fan of me. I said, well, of course, I can't wait to watch you again. Just a really humble guy. Even when you're doing interviews with him, you're talking to him, you can tell what kind of character he is. So I've got a lot of time for Kane Baker, definitely.
Yeah. He's a good kid, and no doubt he'll come again. But moving on from that, what is next for Youssef? Because there's a few names that have been bandied about, and one of them's Alpha Barrett. That name's popped up. I know Youssef has said before, he'll take on anyone. He wants to be a world champion. But realistically, looking forward, his next bout, who of the team got their eyes on?
All of them. Any of those guys in the top 10, I think Youssef's number 10 at the moment.
He's number 10 now, yeah.
Anyone who's ranked above Youssef's looking at every single one of them. As long as he knows it's going to be a good, entertaining fight. That's the most important thing to him. He wants to be a crowd pleaser. That's the most important. And obviously, he wants to go and win belts. But I'd take any of those fights tomorrow. To me, Youssef in that division, outside the guys that had a lot of experience, like the Martin J. Ward, for example, Youssef to me beats any of them. He just does everything that little bit better to me. And the fact he's so versatile, he proved he can box on the back foot. He can fight.
Versatility.
He can fight inside. He works the body. He works the head well. He punches in combination. I don't ever have to tell Youssef what punches to throw. We've done. It's been so much repetition between me and him. When he gets in the ring and a guy makes a certain position, gets into that position, he's already got a trigger. He knows what to throw. I think that's the difference between Youssef and a lot of the other guys, is that it's very natural to him. But I do rate and respect the rest of the guys up there. I do like the way Zelfa fights. I do like watching Zelfa. Never really in a boring fight. He's he's got good power, good skills. Joe Cordina is another one. Youssef sparred him before. It's another good fighter.
Interesting. Interesting. I didn't know he sparred Joe Cordina.
Yeah, he sparred. Youssef sparred him when Youssef was still an amateur. I took him down to Matchroom to go spar Joe Cordina. So he sparred Martin J. Ward as well. He sparred Ricky Burns. So Youssef's sparred quite a few good guys. So he's done what you should do. You get on the road and you go and get your experience. The only thing I've got left to do with Youssef really is to travel to America, which I've got a couple of links out there. I'd like him to spar some of the good guys out there. Got like the Garcia gym, where Mikey Garcia is and guys like that. That I would like, because there's a lot of good Mexican fighters out there as well. So that's the plan for maybe later in the year. But domestically, I'm not worried about any of those guys. I'll put Youssef in any of those guys. It's always going to be a good fight with Youssef, because he's not going to run around. He's going to stand right there. So, I like any of those fights, any of them.
That's music to my ears, that you're going to take him to America, that you're going to take him to get experience.
We're supposed to go last year, but I didn't expect to go to Portugal.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't expect to go to Portugal, and I didn't expect, obviously, the pandemic. But the idea was we were going last year. You know, we'd already made like some arrangements, and I told him to save his money, and you know, that's it. But you know, I think nothing happens before its time. You know, he got an opportunity with Dillian. They get on really well, and he made some very smart choices, Youssef, and he got his rewards the other day. Yeah,
I think it's nothing but bonuses for him to travel and get that worldly experience. If he's on the road to becoming a world champion, you get that by getting worldly experience. So that's really, really good to hear. So congratulations on that win, because it was Team IQ. So we're going to push forward to the Dillian White, the second bout with Povetkin. I want to go to the lead up to that and everything that happened from obviously the loss last year into preparing now for this rematch.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very long camp. I think the first fight I was very, very confident. You know, the way Dillian was winning the rounds, he was also confident, and he was maybe a punch or a round or two away from getting the win. And he was doing a lot of good things in there, but I thought Dillian could still look a lot better. So, you know, coming into the rematch, still confident. You know, I came back home to the UK for about 11 days, and then he called me and said, listen, we need to come back out and get ready for this rematch. I've got a date. So, you know, I went next day, I traveled straight back out and got to work. And what I would say is, you know, the way Dillian looked that night, you know, that comes from a lot of repetition, a lot of hard work. It doesn't happen after 2 or 3 months. You know, he's always been very good at a lot of different things. It's just putting it all together and just making the right choices at the right time. I think the adjustments and making the right decisions at the right time in the ring, to me, is the key for Dillian moving forward. I think he's an exceptional fighter. You know, he does a lot of things so well. You just obviously a lot of times you just got to be very careful with your decision making, and he was spot on. And I've got nothing but respect for the way he handled himself after the loss. I've got respect for him the way he handled himself after the win, and just I told him just very, very proud of your performance. You know.
So going into the fight, the first round starts off really aggressive. I mean, you've got 2 minutes 14 left in the first round, and Povetkin is wobbled. Dillian then gets like really aggressive, looks to take him out, then almost like a switch. He thinks, okay, contain yourself, back to boxing. When he comes back into the corner, one of the comments that you gave to him is, beautiful work. That's how you're supposed to look. But when you hurt him, keep those hands up. He's going to get desperate. So talk to me about that. Yeah,
I mean, as soon as Dillian hurt him with a shot, you know, I saw Povetkin's legs, but I know this guy, he's got very good recovery powers. I mean, he displayed that throughout the fight with Hunter. And Hunter's hurt him several times, but, you know, towards the second half of the fight, Povetkin started coming back into it. So he's an experienced campaigner. So you just, like I said, it's about making the right decisions at the right time. You know, we've practiced a lot of things, especially when Povetkin decided to come forward, and Dillian executed that perfectly. So it was just to remind him that, you know, he's still dangerous even when he's hurt. So, you know, when you do go after him, just stay switched on, because he will fight. He will throw out a desperation. He's a warrior. He's a fighter. He's not just going to lay down. He's going to go out swinging. So, you know, when he does throw those big swings, you don't want to be there as a target.
And that's exactly what he was doing. He was coming in with those overhand rights. He was looking, like you said, it's like he was starting to warm up, kind of, but he was getting really defensive, and he was constantly coming with those overhand rights. And Dillian was able to nullify it by literally bouncing out the way or coming back with an aggressive counter. It was good boxing. You know.
Very good.
Yeah, it was enjoyable to watch, and credit to you and the team, you know, for making those adjustments, for talking him through, for giving him that correct advice. So we boxed extremely well and managed to knock him down.
Yeah, at least that's one of his it's one of his best performances. I mean, I said even when the first fight was announced, I did say to everybody who asked me, I said to me, this is the toughest fight of Dillian's career because of the level of competition. Yeah. To me, he's beaten good guys, but Povetkin to me is better than the guys he's beat. That was my personal opinion. To me, he'd done more.
Absolutely.
And he'd only been stopped once by Joshua, and even then, for a few rounds, he's given Joshua a lot of trouble. Until Joshua found that right hand. So to me, going into the fight, it was always a dangerous fight to me. But one night, I was confident we'd win, and I was just so happy and relieved that he got the job done, and I was even more pleased that he stopped him, in 4 rounds. I thought that was amazing. It was reminiscent of Lennox Lewis and Hussey Rahman. Rahman managed to get Lewis out, I think maybe in round 7, and I think Lewis got Rahman out in a rematch in maybe round 4 or 5. So it was a good feeling. Historically, the guy that wins the first fight usually wins the second fight in boxing. It does happen. It happens regularly. So every now and then, you can flip the script, and that's what we did.
And you flipped it very, very well. He won, and he won in great style and fashion. But what I think sometimes as well is that I feel, and this is just my personal opinion, that sometimes no matter what Dillian Whyte does, he's still never just quite good enough. Oh, but he's already been beaten by that person. Oh, but Povetkin was old. Oh, but Povetkin had COVID. Oh, but Povetkin looked like he was sick coming into the ring. It just seems like no matter what he does, he's just never good enough. Mm. And that is what some are saying, not all. Mm-hmm. But how do you feel about that as a coach when you hear stuff bandied about like that?
You hear those things even before the fight, so right. You don't expect to get the praise and respect anyway, because some people have got an agenda, and that's just the way it is. Some people are just a fan of one particular fighter, and no matter how good that other fighter does, it's never good enough. You can't fight for them. When you get in that ring, you have to fight for yourself. The only thing that matters, he's got his belt back, and he's worked his way back into that position that he was in, which means that, ultimately, we will eventually get a title shot. And that's what it was about. They can say whatever they want to say. Dillian's in a very good position. I always worry that people that always come with negativity, you have to worry about what's going on in their lives for them to have the time to keep talking down on others. I get concerned when either coaches or boxers speak about other coaches or boxers, because we all put in so much. Coaches put in, you can't pay a coach enough money with the amount of hours they put in. True. You can't. And with fighters, they're taking the risk. They're risking their lives in that ring. Why would you want to talk down about another boxer? Unless, of course, you're fighting and these guys go back and forth. But outside of that, to me, there should be a respect line. And that's why, I stick within my tight circle. Me, Nick, and other coaches in my gym. I don't really go out of that too often. It's very important to me what they think. What Nick thinks, what the other coaches in my gym think, what my other fighters think, what my family thinks. Those are the people that the opinions outside of that. I just laugh at them, actually, to be honest with you. I laugh at them because they don't have no relevance. It has no value. But if my people come, especially my uncle who actually got me into boxing, if he says to me a good job, then I'm happy. If he says, listen, you need to be doing this, that, and that, then I'll listen to what he says, because he's the one who brought me into this. So you have to listen to the people in and around your circle more than anything else. If you take on what people say outside,
you'll never get anywhere as well.
You're never going to get anywhere. It can affect your progress. You have to have tunnel vision and know where you want to go. People were telling me 10 years ago that, I won't do what I'm doing now. I won't get there. I told them, okay, we'll see.
We'll see.
I was motivated. I knew what I wanted to do. So you just got to worry about your own circle, not worry about what anybody else is saying.
That's really good advice and well said. So what is next for Dillian?
I keep getting asked this question. I honestly don't know.
Because we're all excited about him fighting again. That's why.
I know. The relationship me and Dillian have is that he'll call me and say, listen, you need to get back out. This fight's coming. I don't really talk to him unless the fight's actually there. Because remember, Dillian manages his own career and he's got his own people around him to deal with that side of the business. I'm a coach. I respect my position, understand my position. If he wants to call me and ask my opinion on something, obviously I'll give it to him. But I'm here just to improve him as a fighter. That's my job. It doesn't really matter who he's fighting for me.
Yeah.
If Dillian does the right things, he'll be successful. And that's why I did. That's why I always go on to him all the time about learning certain aspects of boxing, because I know that down the line it will help him. Everything that I teach is connected. Obviously, I'm not going to go into how I teach because that's from my gym.
That's tactics, yeah.
But it's all relevant. From when I'm talking about one thing, it's connected to something else. So if you do that one thing right, it will affect the next thing. That's how I was taught to box. So yeah, I'm just happy for him and hope that he's proud of his performance, and he's just I know that he's hungry and ready to go again. So he needs a rest, because it's been a very, very long camp. I mean, we were clever enough. We've got a very good team. He's got a strength and conditioning, Al, recovery. He's got Simon. He's got his second coach, which is Harold Knight. We all knew when to take the training down and when to bring it back up again. When we got the news about the date being shifted, automatically as a team we knew what to do. Yeah. So but still, he still had to go through hard, long training camps, and he only actually managed to box once in the last 6, 7, 8 months. So you have to be sensible. I wanted to take a good couple of weeks rest, and then ready to get back in and do what needs to be done, and just tick over until the next challenge.
Fantastic. So it's the roll of the dice who he fights next. There's obviously a few heavyweight fights that are coming up, and we don't yet know what's happening with Deontay Wilder. That's a fight that I'd personally like to see happen, because of the to and fro that they had, the 2-year freeze out, the DMs, when Dillian had his interview and showed the DMs that he was going to get frozen out, etc., etc. So I think I'd really like to see that fight, even though obviously there's no title as such, but a fan-friendly fight. I'd definitely say that's the one I'd like to see. But parking Dillian Whyte, then let's talk about IQ boxing. Let's talk about your gym and the plans moving forward. Because obviously these wins, 2 very good wins, 2 fighters that you've coached personally, is catapulted you guys now into another level further down the road in boxing. So IQ now, what's happening there?
I've got Kay Prosper fighting Sandor Martin on the 23rd of April.
Right.
That's going to be a very, very, very difficult fight.
Okay.
Sandor is southpaw, skilled. I think he's on about 37, 38 fights. And he's got a world ranking. And we're going to have to fight him in his hometown. We're going to Spain. That's going to be a very, very tough fight for Kay. Kay won his English title, defended it. He's been consistent. The last time he boxed was March 7th. And you're jumping quite a few levels. I mean, Kay was we were waiting forever to get that British title shot, but it just never came about. There was always like a delay, or one of the fighters got injured between Akeem Ennis-Brown and I can't remember the other guy who was supposed to fight. But I think it's Maxwell. So we were kind of sitting around waiting for that to happen. It didn't happen. And we just got this call out of the blue about this fight. And so what you're doing is you're jumping British, Commonwealth, and going straight for European. Ooh. It is a huge jump, just like it's a huge jump from European to world. So Kay's going to have to show a lot of class here. And he's had to be consistent to go and rip that title away from Sandor Martin. But he's very capable of doing it. So it's a fight that I'm really looking forward to. I'm really happy that the dates changed in our favour, because when I first got the call about the fight, it was actually going to be the day before Dillian's fight. It was on a Friday in Spain. So I would have had to go out to Spain for that corner and then fly back to Gibraltar. Now, obviously, Now, obviously, with the whole restrictions and going into the bubble and COVID tests and so on, it wouldn't have been impossible, but it would have been a challenge. It would have been a challenge. But I was willing to do it, and the other guys back home would have taken care of the training camp. I was a little bit worried about it, because me and Kay we've been together for about 4 or 5 fights, so we're very close. So it would have been strange, but we would have dealt with it. But then I got a call that the fight's been moved to 23rd of April. I'm not sure if that's because of, obviously, because Dillian's fight was in Gibraltar, and in that fight would have been a day before, and it's 2 matchroom shows. I don't know if it could have worked, if it could have functioned. I don't know. It might have been too much for the team. So the day got moved in our favour, which means that I think Kay would now have had about 9 weeks' notice, which is basically a full camp. Whereas before, you had about 6 weeks' notice, it's a big difference. So there's about 3. I mean, I got back on Monday, so I'd say there's about it's about 3 weeks to the fight, 3-4 weeks. So I've come back at the perfect time to oversee all his sparring. So really happy about that. And I'm looking forward to that fight. I mean, the other guys in the gym, Dennis the Menace were home. He's waited forever and a day to fight Liam Dillon for this English title on a Steve Goodwin show. I think that Steve Goodwin might well be putting out a date, and it looks like it's around maybe June, July for Dennis. So that will probably be the next big fight after that. After Kay's fight, I've got another prospect coming through right now. His name's Plamedy Mantiolo. I think you've been.
Yeah, I've talked with him. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. He's outstanding. That's all right. Yeah, so Plamedy, outstanding. Won his national title at 52. He's waiting for his interview with the British Boxing Board, but obviously they've got a backlog with so many applications. I'm not sure how long he'll have to wait. But
there's a delay, isn't there?
There's a delay. They've got loads of applications they've got to get through. But but they're getting moving now, so he'll get his interview soon, and then I'll start to look for a deal for him. I'm not sure who's actually going to end up signing him, but he's exciting to watch. He's a good boxer, and he's funny as hell. I've also got Yasser Alguina, super lightweight, very talented. He's 5-0. He's just I think his contract's finished now with Goodwin, so he's a free agent. I'm not exactly sure what's happening with him yet, but he's just ticking over in the gym. We've also got Adrian Redmond.
Redmond, yeah.
Yeah, I've got his t-shirt on at the moment. He's also 5-0. But he's looking. I want him to get a Southern Area title at some point. I'm just waiting for Steve Goodwin to start his shows up again. So he's having to be patient. I think that's the only guy that are kind of actively doing something at the moment. I've got a lot of fighters in the gym. I think you interviewed Sadem a little while ago.
I'm excited about her. I can't lie.
Yeah, we're still in talks. She's a very good fighter. I'm not sure what she wants to do in her career. She might continue in the amateurs for a while, but I like her. She flew out to Portugal for one of the training camps. So she was out there with me for about a week. So we were doing a bit of training out there. So haven't had a chance to catch up with her since I got back, but we'll see what she wants to do. Got another amazing kid, Kian Tech Thomas.
Okay.
He's 8-0, but the last time he boxed was on the George Groves Cox undercard, which was in Wembley. I think that was 2017.
I was about to say that would have been a while ago.
Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, he's had some personal issues to deal with, so no chance to get back into boxing. But he came to the gym a few days ago, and I mean, he's really, really talented. Really, I mean, you can see the fight on YouTube. He's really classy. So I'm not sure what he's going to do with his career, but he's a welterweight. I've got a really good heavyweight, Bremer. He hasn't had many amateur fights, but he's I like him to get a bit more experience in the amateurs, but he is a major talent. He will make a lot of noise in the heavyweight division. Dillian liked him a lot. He came up for the first training camp and helped me out there. But he's a really good fighter. you know, he did a few rounds with Dillian. He can look after himself pretty much. So yeah, he'll be one to watch. But yeah, you know, there's a lot of guys in the gym. If I list them all, we'll be here a long time. But you know, that was what me and Nick wanted to do, was build guys and then start filtering them through slowly. And you know, that's why when I see these guys in the circuit, they know exactly who I am. But obviously, you know, until you get a marquee name fighter, people are not really that interested. So, but yeah,
I'm sure they'll be interested now.
Yeah, I've had. I mean, I think it was Sunday morning. Sorry, it started from Saturday evening. Actually, I had so many messages on Instagram that I had to put a post up just thanking everybody for messaging. I couldn't get through all of them, and there was a couple from fighters. Obviously, I wouldn't expose them for name. But yeah, I'm very happy with my gym. You know, I've got, you know, like I said, my circle's small. It would have to be someone that I'll be really, really interested in taking on. And also, to be honest with you, I've got more than enough fighters on my plate at the moment anyway. But I do have a lot of coaches in the gym, so yeah, it's a discussion we could have later on, I suppose.
That's really good to hear. I did imagine that once the final bell went, once Youssef claimed the win, I thought, hold on a minute, the DMs are going to start coming in now. I just thought people are going to look at that and think, oh, I need to get in that gym because that's what people are like. But yeah, I'm genuinely happy for the team, for Team IQ, to see the work that you guys have put in, to see the fruits of your labor, and to see you getting the credit and recognition that you deserve. Because sometimes, like you said, people don't appreciate, or they don't really see what happens behind the scenes, the sacrifices that the coaches and the fighters are make for months and months and months, going over things, drills, FaceTiming people that are in the UK when you're out there in Portugal, and still, you know, you train in Dillian, but you also got to look after Youssef, etc., etc. So thank you for sharing that with us and highlighting a little bit of the real world behind the scenes in boxing.
Yeah, I mean, I did another interview. I did an interview the other day, and I was talking about K Prosper, and I was saying that you know, it's okay looking at the highs, the top end of boxing. You know, the guys that are already up there, the guys that are box office fighters or household names. But then you look at the other end of the spectrum. We've got someone like K, who, as far as I'm aware, has never made a penny out of boxing. He's had quite a few fights, but because he's on a small show, you have to sell tickets. Now, to me, if you have to sell tickets for your own fights, to me, you're not making money. You know, you're paying yourself to box. And a lot of times when you don't sell the amount of tickets you need to sell, the promoter's still got to get paid. You've got to go and put your hand in your pocket, and you've got to make that money up. So this will be the first time he's ever been paid to box. And I keep reminding him, you know, you beat this guy, and you know, your life will change. You know, at the moment he's a part-time boxer. You know, Kay does some really good work, works with young people. He's a mentor. You know, Kay's got a degree, very intelligent guy. But you know, he loves the sport of boxing. You know, this fight could really change everything for him. He'd become a full-time pro to win this fight. So, you know, to me, that's enough motivation. You don't need any more motivation than that. I'm just really happy for him that he actually finally got the opportunity, and the fact he's headlining a Matchroom show. Yeah, it's huge. It's huge for him. So yeah, you know, good luck to Kay. He deserves it all, honestly.
Brilliant stuff. So thank you very much for coming on October Red interviews. It's an absolute pleasure to have you back. No doubt now we're building this relationship. I will be cheeky and say that we'll definitely speak again.
No doubt.
But thank you, and all the best for Team IQ, and well done on a fantastic performance weekend just gone.
Thank you very much.
October Red on YouTube. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. And don't forget, at October Red, we stay ready.